Okay. Well, so we are now, it is September 23rd, and uh, my dog already. If you guys have been on a call with me, you know my dog is a problem. Um, Let me open the door real quick. So welcome to everybody who's live and to everybody who is tuning in to the recording. But we are just like rocking and rolling through this book, and I'm absolutely loving it. Now, I'm not 100% sure what was discussed earlier this week, and so I'm going to apologize if I'm doing any type of repeating, but the stuff that I'm going to cover today, I feel like is crazy, crazy, crazy important. And it is such a part of my own story on my way to Diamond that it was something that I just wanted to share with everybody as well. So I am going to be tuning in from chapter 13. If you guys want to follow along, if you have the book, if you don't, then just listen along and you can take some notes. But basically, chapter 13 is all about avoiding the top 10 reasons that people fail. And one of the things that really, really caught my attention, like I said, because this is so much part of my story, was number 5, where he talks about a weak commitment. So I'm going to talk about commitment, goals, and then change, because those were 3 of the 10 things. And I have my notes, so I'm going to be looking at my notes a lot probably. But basically, one of the things that he really talks about, just setting my computer up, making sure it doesn't fall off this little table as I push it back. Let me see exactly where he says it. Okay, so he says in there, like, when you're making plans for a change or when you're committing to something, do it for a year. And that extra stood out to me because when I first started Plexus and I told my husband, hey, I think that I can earn enough money to get my products for free, because that was like the only thing that I wanted to do with Plexus. I did not want a business, but I wanted to take these products, and one of the ways that I was going to be able to do that was if I got them for free. He said, okay. He goes, I'll give you a year. He told me, he goes, I will invest. I said, because he goes, how much is this going to cost us? I said, it's like $100 a month. He goes, okay, I'll invest $1,200 in you for you to do this for a year. And if you're not reaching your goal of getting your products for free in a year's time, he's like, you're done. I said, okay. So I had it set from the very start that I had an entire year to get my products for free. Now, we have people that join and they work this business for a week, a month. They say, I didn't make any money, I'm done, right? And I was like, I'll do it for a year. I'll do it for a year. So that was something that really stuck to me, was that I was going to commit for a year. Now, I'm assuming that all of you guys here are 100% committed because you're showing up every single day to these power hours. So I just want to applaud you guys for that, but then also don't lose sight of that commitment. And then what's interesting too is he goes on to talk about goals, and I'm going to bounce around between commitment, goals, and change. But let me find the spot about goals. What I loved that he says, many people don't have goals because they haven't allowed themselves to dream. So again, going back to my story, when I committed for the year, stop it, dog. When I committed for the year, my one and only goal, sorry, my one and only goal was to get my products for free. Well, I did that in my very first month. So then it was like, well, what do I do next? Like, what's my next goal? And I never really, move out of the way. I never really allowed myself to dream. Because when I got started, it was, oh yeah, look at all those fancy people hitting Jewel, going to Hawaii, driving a free Lexus. Oh, that's great for them. I never allowed myself to dream. So I wasn't setting my goals to set me up for success. Yes, I made sure I was setting a goal to get my products for free, but it wasn't until I started really dreaming and understanding what that could mean for our family did I start seeing myself move forward? So that's another thing. If you haven't set your goals and allowed yourself to like really dream big, then you may see yourself just stuck in the same place, right? I mean, if you've been on a power hour with me before, you know, you can still be being successful by, I'm getting customers, I'm earning a paycheck. But if you're wanting to like really move forward, if you're not setting those big, scary goals that you're actually probably going to fail at the first few times, you're not going to be able to learn and grow from that. So setting goals is important. And then come up with a plan to change. So when I finally started getting it and I hit Emerald, it took me 3 years to get to Emerald, or just under 3 years. And at that point, I was even thinking, okay, now what, right? Like I've achieved this huge goal and I didn't know what I was going to do next. And so I just kept doing the same thing, right? And it ended up, sorry, did I say gold? I meant Emerald. I ended at Emerald for 3 years. And I don't say that I sat, because during that 3 years, we were working. We were doing a lot of things, right? We were doing the same thing though. And at that point, it took me a while to remember, because I read this book before I was even a gold ambassador. It took me a while to remember that I needed to do something to change, right? I was not, what is it? What's he say? An unwillingness to change. It wasn't that I had an unwillingness. It was just that I forgot. Like you get so wrapped up into, I'm doing things, I'm doing the activities, I am working, I am putting in the time. But then it's like, okay, it's time to change things up, right? So maybe I need to change my goals. Maybe my commitment level on a day-to-day basis needs to change. Maybe what I'm saying to people needs to change. And I'll tell you what, once you start making changes, again, you're going to experience new things. You're going to stretch yourself outside your comfort zone. You're going to find yourself failing, and you're giving yourself opportunities to fail forward. So that's why I love this chapter, because it's talking about all of the things to avoid, right? But as you're in these activities, you're setting yourself up to be in positions to fail forward. And that's where you have to let go of that fear and be willing to do those things. So one of the very, very favorite things too that I heard from Sarah Robbins was she spent 2 years on personal growth and development. And when I read that, and I was already a year into my business or more, I was like, okay, like, you know, I had gotten past that first year of commitment. I was like, I'm all in. But then when I heard she spent 2 years really focusing on that. And now that does not mean that she put her business aside. It was while she was doing everything on top of it. I was like, okay, like you can be committed to this even longer than a year. And it's okay that it could take me time. I have no time. I have no clue how long it was going to take. And I started even thinking, okay, even if it took me 10 years to get to diamond, am I willing to commit to that, and would it be worth it? And I would say 100% yes. I've been doing this for 6 years now. And so it took me just over 6 years to hit the rank of diamond. And I will say that 100% yes, it was worth it. And if it would have taken me longer, it would have been worth it. There were things that I needed to learn in that 3-year period from emerald to diamond. So one thing that I want to leave you real quick, as you are thinking about like your commitment level, setting goals, being committed to change and all of that stuff, and really looking at chapter 13 if you have that book, and just seeing where you need to change. Because I love the other thing that he talks about. Where is it? Work on the weakness that weakens you. And when I read that, it made me think to not compare, right? Like I know that some of you guys have been in this business for a long time, and some of you might be newer, but it's really easy to fall into the comparison trap. Even when we're like, I'm not comparing, I'm just admiring what she's done, right? Like, oh, look at what she's done. I'm just admiring it. No, you're really comparing. And we have to be really, really careful with that. I wrote, do not compare. It affects your mindset. It makes it very easy for you to become negative. And here's the thing, if it really bothers you, like if you're watching somebody else and you're admiring them and you're starting to compare, if it really bothers you that much, then you have to look inside yourself and you have to start making changes, right? Like get to work, right? Say, okay, if it really bothers me that much, what do I need to do? What do I need to do to make sure that I'm successful in my own eyes, not compared to that person? I said, but don't try to be like someone else. Their strengths are different than your strengths. You guys are so funny. I'm peeking at the comments. Your strengths are not their strengths. Their strengths are not your strengths. Where you're weak, they might be strong, and you don't know that. We don't, I mean, social media, we don't know everybody's ins and outs, right? So you can't try to be like somebody else. So what you can do is you can look at your commitment level. You can look at how you're setting your goals. You can look and see, where are my weaknesses? What are the things that I need to improve on? And then get to work and start doing that. But I would say stretch yourself, right? That's the whole purpose of failing forward. Don't always do the things that are just easy for you. It's important to have those wins, but you need to stretch yourself. So anyways, be committed. And if you're saying, I am committed, have the, you might have people on your team or even customers that aren't committed, right? And so have the confidence when you talk to them that you say, like, we're committing to this together, right? 100% people need to be committing to their health. 100% people who say they want this business, let's help them be committed. So I say at least a year, and then obviously once you're in it, as long as it takes. So that was a long time. So we've got 15 minutes now to work. Yay! I have 4 things that I want to focus on today. Number 1, if you've been on one of these calls, we always, always, always focus on perks, okay? So if that's something that you can do quickly to reach out to your people, if you're on top of it, you may not have that many people to reach out to getting them their perks. But I also want you guys, as you're looking through this, I wouldn't say that this is necessarily like a top income producing activity, but I still really believe that it's so important. One of the things that keep people committed to this, to the products, is when they get to try new products. So even if all you have to do is jot down some names, find at least 5 people that you know have been consistent with their products, and you know for a fact they have got to have some serious perk credits that they haven't used, and reach out to them. If they're a wholesale ambassador, it's a very good chance that they don't even know that they have perks. So let's reach out to people ahead of time before they end up on our perks report. So just keep that in mind. Let's work on inviting people to tonight's product call. I'm going to say invite 10 people. And I will put verbiage. I will actually put verbiage in here this week from just something that we were using this back in like April and May. This was the verbiage that we were like blasting out to people. And then I'm also going to put in another little tidbit of verbiage that, again, we were using this back in May when our momentum just like skyrocketed, and we haven't put as much emphasis on it, but it's going to be a bold approach verbiage message. And I want you guys to keep in mind that I would not use this for somebody that you haven't talked to in 20 years, right? That's going to feel like a cold contact. We don't want that. We want you guys reaching out to people that you have relationships with, or people on your chicken list that you are in contact with all the time. And you just haven't really talked to them about Plexus yet. So I'm going to share that verbiage. And then the 4th thing that I have for you guys is, if you haven't ever written your goals down, use this time right now to like write your goals down. Like, what's your month end goal? And if you want to share it, share it. Your month end goal, maybe your 3-month goal, your 6-month goal, your year goal. I would love to see that. And it's so powerful when you actually have to like put it down on paper and you have to look at it. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to put that stuff in the chat, and we are going to get to work. Okay, guys, it is right at 11:30, so our 30 minutes is up, but I hope you guys wrote down um, some little tasks to get done today because you're probably in like a little work mode, so you can just continue working. I'm gonna check. I know it's hard. Hold on, I'm gonna stop the recording.